Riteish Deshmukh is an Indian actor, producer, director, and my favorite college batchmate from our good old days of studying architecture. Riteish has made his mark over the past 2 decades in both Hindi and Marathi cinema. He debuted with his Hindi movie 𝗤𝗓𝗦𝗛𝗏 in 2003 opposite Genelia, who has been his best friend since and life partner today. The much-in-love couple are proud parents of their 2 children, Rian and Rahil. They have been acing their parental duties like a pro, from tagging along with their sons to football matches to keeping them grounded to the core. Riteish has worked in several successful Hindi films such as Masti, Grand Masti, Blockbuster, and many more. He has received widespread critical acclaim for redefining a serial killer in the romantic thriller 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥, released in 2014. In Marathi cinema, he has made his debut as a producer with 𝗤𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in 2013, as an actor with action film 𝗦𝗡𝗦𝗏𝗏 in 2014, as a director with 𝗦𝗡𝗏 in 2022. What personally touched me from the huge array of Riteish's works is his Marathi film Yellow, produced in 2014, which won the Special Jury Award at the 61st National Film Awards, while its child actors 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥 and Sanjana Rai received special mentions. This film is based on the true story of 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥, a child with special needs, who also plays herself as an international level swimmer with Down syndrome in the film, which makes it a first of its kind. 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥 was the firstborn of Shekhar and Sneha Gadgil. 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥 was diagnosed with Down syndrome as a newborn. The movie depicts the struggle of a mother who almost raises 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥 single-handedly along with her normal second-born Pallavi in a small town of Jalgaon, Maharashtra, and they later relocate to Pune for want of better facilities. At first, 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥 went into a mainstream school, but other kids started teasing her mercilessly, so they shifted her to a special school where she thrived. When she was 10, the doctor recommended that she learned dance and swimming to improve her motor skills. 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥 embraced both activities. As for swimming, her career blossomed under the coach 𝗥𝗧𝗥𝗧𝗢𝗥, who had faith in the adolescent's potential. 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥 passed her 10th grade with a first class through the National Open Schooling System NIOS, completed her 12th and joined college in 2013. By then, she had already made waves by winning gold at the National Paralympics in 2003, silver in Beijing in 2008, and silver and 2 bronze in Australia in 2013. That was when a movie offer came her way. Riteish and director Mahesh Limay read a newspaper report on 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥's achievements and started searching for an actor whom they could cast in her role. Then they met 𝗤𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who introduced them to 𝗥𝗜𝗧𝗢𝗥, and they knew they needed to look no further. Thank you, Riteish, for joining me today on this platform, I Am Possible and Smart.
I'm extremely glad and happy to be part of this, and thank you so much for inviting me.
So Riteish, I was talking to you offline for a few minutes and I was telling you that, why we are doing this. This is something I felt really deeply about for many, many years of bringing up my children. Almost for 10 years, I kept quiet about my daughter's condition and, how I was parenting a differently abled child in the society. But now with this whole aspect of our story having come out and got endorsed with this activity of crowdfunding, I felt that it is also, something that I need to start talking about because I have people listening to me. Rather than being looked at as somebody who is seeking help, financial support, I thought it also makes sense to be, getting people to speak about various subjects because this is the only time one can get heard, right? I'm not a famous person, but since I'm famous for the wrong reasons here, I thought, let me try to make something right. Topic of inclusivity and creating empathy in the society, I wanted to invite your opinion in terms of how you see it applying to your industry that that you're working in currently. So over to you, Riteish, without taking more time.
I think empathy is something that should be part of your upbringing. Empathy should be taught to children at a very early age, and Genelia and myself do that. We learn from other people, we see what is right, and we want to invite that. Empathy is something that I think needs to be a subject in school at an early age.
Oh, yes.
It strictly defines from being a good person and not so good person. Being empathetic towards towards each other, towards the situation, animals, your planet, and that is something that you should feel. Just throw a stone at a cat or a dog. Few kids will laugh because they don't know better at that age. It is us who can, let them know that this is not right, and it hurts animals. What if someone throws a stone at you? How will you react? What will you feel? It's not about don't do this, don't do that. They need to understand as a friend, and you need to be empathetic towards their situation that they don't know better. When you show empathy towards someone out of a way, it really pays it forward.
Absolutely.
If you are nice to people when you really don't need to be, is something that takes it a long way. That teaches people. There's no better way to teach people about empathy than showing empathy towards them. It's embracing everyone in this society as equal is very important. If there is no equality, you cannot be empathetic.
Absolutely.
It stems from equality, and equality in terms of caste, creed, religion, gender, and understanding other person. Many a times we like to tell people and we hate to listen. I think the moment you start listening to people, whatever their viewpoints are, and then probably not trying to prove that you are right.
That's such a good point to hear from you. Do you face inequality in your life, or being not included? Is it because you have reached where you are? People automatically chase you, receive you, include you. Do you think it has got to do with the position or power that comes with the position, or it's something that is also difficult, right? If at your level, what's been your observation there?
Struggle is real. At every level you have to struggle. There will be good days, there will be bad days, and I cannot compare my struggle to anyone else. I might have a better life compared to someone, and I may not have a better life compared to many of them. But my struggle is my struggle, and I need to struggle to be happy and find solace in whatever I have. There's a hand that's laid by God to you. Those are the cards you have. You need to make the best out of it.
Absolutely.
And that's something that is in your hand, and that is with your attitude. I can sulk about it or do something about it, and I choose to do something about it. If you ask me within my industry, did I feel included or excluded? I'll tell you one thing, that the industry that I come from, I didn't want to be an actor. I was just offered a film and then I jumped into it. And of course, I went to an industry where I didn't know anything. I had to start learning things. And one thing that helped me was the fact that I knew I didn't know anything. At least that I knew that I didn't know anything and I had to learn. People around me didn't make me feel that I didn't know anything. Whenever I asked a question, there was an answer for it. When I thought that someone is intellectually superior to me, and he looked at me as if I don't know nothing, then I chose to listen. Listening has taken me this far in life, and that's helped me grow. In the industry that we are, I feel that we are blessed to be born in a country that is so diverse and inclusive at the same time. And I'm not saying that there are many times where, as a society, we are not inclusive, we are not sensitive to people, and unfortunately, sometimes it becomes a norm. I won't talk about the society right now. I'll come to the industry part. Only one thing that matters is, as the skill set, as talent, what do you bring to the table? Whatever skill sets you have, it is displayed to the audience, and the audience decides how long will this person survive, because they are going to pay for your ticket and come and watch you. Irrespective of caste, when people go to watch a movie, they're not looking whether what religion he's from, what caste, what creed. They're just looking at his special skill sets. So yes, in an industry, if you ask me, it's been inclusive. I'll tell you an anecdote or an example, or someone had told me, the great legendary 𝗙𝗏𝗟𝗏 is at his Rajkamal studios. So he had a receptionist who was in a wheelchair. And he made sure that he hired a person who was in a wheelchair. Because that time the receptionist's job was only to take the phone and inform. He said, if I can give opportunity to an abled person, I'm not especially able, but who can perform the duty, that person does not need to run around. So why not create job opportunities like this? So that was, I think, an extremely inspiring thing that someone told me, and it stayed with me for almost 20 years. What we can do within our system is create opportunities for people who find it difficult because they are specially able. Whatever it is, everyone is special. Everyone has something wonderful about that. How it works is you have actors who come on set, then you have a production team, then you have a direction team. The director's job is to take care of the actors. Your time is this, and some people are just there to take care of whatever the needs of the actor. Someone might need a coffee, someone might tea, someone might need a script. I remember this very young kid who had a bad thing and special, and they were very kind to him. We used to say, "Can you get me a coffee?" And see, it's not about telling him what to do, but he felt empowered the fact that he's doing things as good as everyone else.
Absolutely.
So knowing what that person can deliver and offering him that platform to perform, not for anything, for him to feel better about himself, to feel equal.
Absolutely.
That as a society that we need to do.
Yeah.
Of course, we are in a space where either you need a job or in a position that you create job or you hire people, and of course you want to hire the best of the people. But there are certain jobs that can be done equally well if it is very well defined by especially people.
No, thank you so much, Riteish, because this is something that, when someone like me would come out there and say, I think maybe a fewer people will listen to. But since you're saying it out and loud, I think it makes a lot of difference. And that's why, it's also important for people to speak, and people from all strata of the society, right? Because when people hear each other speak and they say, okay, somebody who's also, in that position as Riteish is saying the same thing as what probably the other person on the platform that Monisha has spoken was also saying this, then people start believing it. I don't know what is it, maybe it's a herd philosophy, but I think it is important for people to start speaking the way it is. And what you said is on point, because if we don't feel this way, then obviously the opportunities will not be created, right? And that is where it's. How often do you see people who are differently abled being employed in your industry? Do you face the same problem of not seeing them as much as I did in the corporate, arena? Or do you see that in your industry it is more accepting, it's more inclusive than it is in a regular corporate environment?
Like I said, right, in terms of skill sets, whatever you bring to the table. So what you see in front of the camera is whatever skill sets are required, they're there, right? Behind the camera. So I've seen many people who are specially able and or differently able who are in the creative field, who have been part of the conversation, discussions, and have a viewpoint. I must admit, not as much as one would want to see. This generation, when I see it with my kids or their classmates or when they talk, I see the empathy level or awareness towards being empathetic much higher than what it was.
Oh yes.
If you ask anyone walking on the street and ask him, "Are you empathetic?" and he says, "Of course I am." No one wants to accept the fact that deep down they are not empathetic. They are too busy with their own issues, own problems.
There is a disconnect, which I feel. I feel when you say empathy, people feel it is associated to expectations. So if you have to feel empathetic, you are expected to do something. You have to show empathy for some reason. It is not so actually. It is just a state of being. It's just like how somebody could be talkative, right? Like I am very talkative, and that's a perception. And empathy should be a sense of perception. It should not be, I think, related to an act of doing or exhibiting or proving that I'm empathetic. So it has to be something so normal that people don't start differentiating between whether you're empathetic or non-empathetic. I think we're far from from that stage yet in the society.
Clearly empathy is to to understand someone else.
Just to feel, yeah.
Empathy is a place where you end and the other person starts. What you want ends, and what the other person needs starts. So that is one line.
Very well defined. Very well defined. Riteish, tell me one thing. You can treat it as a. Does empathy imply something depressing?
No.
So you can empathize for somebody who's also very happy.
Then the connotation is always that that you are to understand someone who is probably in a situation that needs to be understood. And that could be anything. Right? It could be someone who's to be heard, someone who's needs a certain kind of help. So yes, empathy is always given; it's never taken. Define it into sad or happy. Probably when you're happy, then you're not seeking empathy. You want just someone to understand it, okay, or hear it, or just stop. Someone just walking on a street and all their files and everything just falls and they have stepped down and they're very well capable of lifting it, but everyone just walking down. Okay, someone who's holding 6 bags stops, puts their bags down, picks their stuff, take it, lifts your bag and walks out. It's just a gesture. Was that person sad? May not.
Not sad. Very well said, Riteish. I love this example actually. It doesn't have to be associated to happy and sad. That's what it means, right? It's just an act. If you ask me honestly, if I can, listen to another friend and that friend could be in need of any emotional security, for example, that also is an act of giving. And we don't want people to associate empathy to some sort of act of giving of concrete material help. That doesn't have to be that. Obviously, whatever you make as a person from the industry is made for the society, right? To society to accept, embrace, encourage. What has been your perception? Do you see people accepting a happy movie or a sad movie? You feel that a favorite topic is always a happy commercial movie, which, makes somebody get a light moment in a theater, or something heavyweight is well thought of at the back end and people do want to make impact on the society, and then those subjects are created. And I'm sure filmmakers are of different kinds. But what's the tribe like there, or the maximum of the tribe like?
Take any example of any film that is done well. Right now, 𝗏𝗏 or Pathaan, which released a few months ago, and Pathaan has collected, say, 500 crores. So 500 crores, they have, I would say, an average 100 rupees. Much more, but I'm saying average 100 rupees a ticket if you say. But average 200 rupees. But say 2.5 or 3 crore people have watched the film, right? So when you have 3 crore people who have watched out of a population of 140 crore in the theatres, which means not more than 3 to 4% of the entire population has watched that film in the theatre. At no point, any film, more than 3 to 4%, 2%, 1%, 0.05% population watches a film in the theatre. Having said that, there is a humongous infrastructure that goes to display movies. You have PVRs and you have Inoxes and you have other multiplex chains, play high rental, they give you great service. So there are crores and crores of rupees that have gone into trying to show you the cinema. And we might complain about popcorn prices being too high and whatever, and of course, and fair enough. At the same time, the popcorn won't sell if there are no footfalls. The rentals won't work if there are no footfalls. So you need people to come to the theatre. So that is very important. And with the fact that you have OTT platforms coming in, and they're already there, like Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Jio. So all of them trying to make sure that you stay at home and watch. And now filmmakers are trying to say, no, don't stay at home, but come to the movie theaters and watch. These are the two places where the divide becomes bigger, where you realize that the only films that people want to watch in theater is the spectacles. Is there something special? Because it's not only 3 hours of the movie, I'm going to take an hour to go and an hour to come back. So it's a 5 hour, half my day is gone. If half my day is gone, if a movie is going to cost me 350 rupees, if I'm 4 people, it's 1400 rupees. If I have to have popcorn and drinks, it's another 700-800 rupees. So I'm going to spend a approximately 3,000 rupees on this endeavor, right? And that is true for whether you are earning 50,000 rupees a month, lesser, or maybe someone is earning, say, 10 crores a month. Having said that, it's a producer's job to get or directors or filmmakers as many people in the theatres, right? And hence they will always choose films that can cater to the majority of the cross sections, and hence they're a bit more commercial. There's action, there's song and dance, and that's the kind of films that we make. Of course, there comes an Uri, which is a smaller film and just takes off because it catches the sentiment, a national sentiment. 𝗨𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗩 was a film made by Aamir Khan on a child on dyslexia, and it was a commercial film.
Yes.
It was a film that made it acceptable to understand a child being special. Work to teach parents to understand that yes, there is, but you need to make a good film. As a producer, Marathi film, I made a film called Yellow, a special child, and it was a story on her life. And when we had actors, right, when you talk about inclusive, like 𝗨𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗩 was a normal child, did a great job playing the way his character was. Or My Name is Khan, autism, played by Shah Rukh Khan. They made a great love
Exactly.
story, and they brought it to the forefront that yes, there are people and there's something special about them, right? At the same time, when we made Yellow, special child, and cast 2 special children in the movie.
Oh, is it?
They were special children. So we worked around the way they were. So we got, those 2 kids got national awards. We got a national award.
Amazing.
When we talk about being inclusive, yes, it was easy to get a child but why not? And I'm telling you, when we watched the film together, and I got my dear friend Salman Khan to come and watch the film, and he was sitting right next to the girl, and the hug that she gave was amazing. We were in Delhi to receive our national awards, and we got the best jury mentioned for our film Yellow. And so Gauri, the girl who went to receive the national award, and there's a protocol. So you walk straight to the president, take picture, you cannot touch him, and whatever, do namaste and get out, and that's the protocol. But when she walked, she didn't care about the president. She was waiting in the crowd, and everyone was clapping for her. And the president, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, was waiting there. He was happy.
I know.
And that was empowerment.
Acceptance at the highest level, absolutely.
When I started this conversation, I'd almost forgotten that we made this film, and this was so special.
Hey, Riteish, all I'm saying is, while we are all, and this is something I've learned the very hard way, trust me, and I'm talking as a parent of a specially able child. I had somewhere along the way, participating in the rat race that I was, that, career karna hai. And I came from a small town, right? Not many people know. I grew up in a very, very small town. When I came to Bombay, I was flabbergasted. I used to actually cry for the first 6 months because I was not used to such small spaces. That's how differently abled I was. But, I came here to make to get my financial independence, to make my career. And I wanted to join the rat race. I wanted to reach that one top women, leaders in the corporate environment. And, I had those fancies when I was growing up because I never had any other map in my mind growing up in a small town. I never saw anything visually, I didn't understand empathy. I did not understand anything, because whatever I saw on TV, and I'm telling you from a very brass tack point of view, whatever I saw on the TV is what got imprinted in my mind. And what got imprinted in my mind is, that, I'm a woman, man is going to suppress me someday, so I have to, get financial independence. So these are the things I saw in my social fabric because of the lack of exposure to these larger or finer things, right, of being able, differently abled and all of that. So when I came here, I saw people in buses, there was a person limping and he had a special seat in the front. in the train, people would make space for somebody who was again limping or, was in crutches. And these are things I learned in Bombay. I really didn't have exposure to this anywhere else. And somewhere along the way, when I went into a corporate office, I didn't see people in, in the white collar jobs being so differently abled as much as I saw on the construction site. I saw people, masons out there, people who were on crutches, literally still carrying those bricks on construction sites. And there they were being employed, but not in the offices. And that's where I saw, I started getting sensitive to my environment. So much so that I think I started, talking about these things. And then much later came my days with parenting care. And now obviously my entire life has changed so much so that I have given up, everything that I thought was right in life, at that point of time. And I'm trying to dedicate whatever I can. And I realized this one thing, that the impact a person makes, this conversation is going to make, and I'm telling you, it's going to make an impact to those few people who are going to listen to it. And they will realize that, somebody spoke about a movie called Yellow winning a national award, and they will go and watch that if nobody has seen it because it was not trending anywhere, etc. But when they hear conversations and they see that yes, there are people who are trying to create an impact somewhere, and somebody is recognizing this at the highest level of the society, right? And that is where I think change making comes into play. It doesn't happen otherwise. Unless you take the first step, it kabhi nahi hoga. So thank you for actually reminding me that, that you have done something in this direction. So thank you for actually spelling it out and saying that, people do take time out to think about topics like this because it brings the subject out to the forefront. Many people are watching it, maybe not so many crores of people. Maybe it's not, a box office marvel, but commercially, but these kind of subjects sensitize people to a massive extent, making the society a much better place. Somewhere there is the need of the hour today. Have you heard of Mithi Cafe?
No.
So whenever you're flying out, right, of the airport, Mithi Cafe is run by Alina Alam, and she's a very young girl, maybe around her early 30s, if not lower. She started a chain of cafes, okay, and she employs specially abled or differently abled people who are, hard of hearing, hard of speaking, they have physical challenges, etc. She's employing them to run this chain of cafes, and these cafes are now pretty much, they've become a rave. They are in the international airport in Bombay. They are in multiple grade A developments in, across the country, and the corporate world is coming forward to embrace this culture of creating an environment. They have actually started injecting into these spaces and being physically there, serving tea and coffee to people who are absolutely fully abled, going about their regular lives. The impact it's making is it's normalizing the society. It's normalizing. So you won't feel bad anymore. You see somebody limping on the road, you're not going to feel bad for the wrong reasons. You'll feel proud that, this guy is employed. I think that is so important because I think somewhere empathy has also created a divide. We feel sad for a moment, we throw the penny in the bowl and we move around, we move along. Like we rightly said, there's no time to do anything more for that person. Coming out there, creating a source of employment, it's the need of the hour. Today, I'm not worried about the, industry making movies on subjects like this. What is more important is please employ people like them. Make them financially independent. Mithi Cafe is a brilliant example, Riteish. If you ever get some chance, try to see where they are closest to your place and do experience that atmosphere. So Mithi Cafe is actually an NGO, and this is something that she's understood. She's created an NGO which runs on corporate donations, so it is financially stable, and she's employing these people, turning that donation that she's getting for them into their salaries. Last question, Riteish, won't take much of your time. If you had to, I wouldn't say ask, if you had to make 2 changes, okay, let's not even increase that number on the list, to create a little more inclusive environment in your sphere of life. Simple things. What would you think of doing?
Taking the inspiration from the great V. Shantaram, within our unit, can we create employment for differently abled people? Can we give them jobs that suit them more than what suits us? Or probably make another film like Yellow, and make it probably more commercial so more people can.
Oh yes, with song and dance. By the way, make it commercial, make it normal, and tell people that it doesn't have to be a hard-hitting, sad story, and normalizing this. Right?
I have seen you closely with your struggle and moving towards life with positivity, and all the positivity that you have is infectious. It just spreads around. That's amazing, and I think you are an example for everyone else in terms of a single mother taking care of 2 children. And thank you so much for having me.
No, my pleasure, Riteish. My pleasure. And thank you for being empathetic always. And I know you not from now. So thank you for just being the same person I know for so many years. God bless you, and God bless the entire family.